Hello and welcome to BroPartisan Hacks, where we discuss politics, culture, or whatever else we feel like. Hope you enjoy this short clip from the full episode.
To go, if you want to jump into the impeachment thing, impeachment. Yeah, fuck him, dude. I'm not saying. So a lot of the things are one. Can you impeach a president who's no longer a president? The other question is, if in a lame duck session, does the president just enter in his God mode key and just do whatever the fuck he wants with no repercussions whatsoever? Like, is that just the rule? Where you can just do whatever you want? Or is it the other thing where, like, you can't prosecute a president while he's a sitting president, and then you definitely can't do anything about it after he's been a sitting president? Like, is just a catch-22 where the president can do whatever the fuck he wants anytime ever? Like, I don't understand. And as long as the partisan side...
The original Office of Legal Counsel brief, like the OLC thing, and going back to the Mueller report, a president could be prosecuted for both criminal and civil offenses that occur while they're in office once they leave office. And both of those opinions, both the Office of Legal Counsel, which works for the White House, and in the Mueller brief, that appears to be the case. Or at least the opinion of those prosecutors and defense attorneys. So, but it doesn't cover impeachment. They basically say, like, the only way you can go after a president is through impeachment. Once they're not president, these are the channels you're supposed to use. And I don't think you could. Yeah, I don't think you can run for office if, like, you're a felon or anything. So if they got him on something, then it wouldn't matter. Yeah. But instead, they're going the impeachment route, which again is 100% political theater.
Well, the U.S. Attorney's Office or the Southern District of New York is I think they've got a case built, but that's completely separate from the impeachment, and it has to do with some of the tax stuff that happened before he was elected, where he was, like, defrauding his taxes or committing fraud. I don't know how you say that, but, like, he was inflating his business to get loans and his numbers to get loans, and then deflating his businesses to file taxes, and then, like, doing this over and over again, which I think is illegal. I think that's fraud. My computer keeps freezing and it's pissing me off.
Well, if they go before the IRS, then it would be incumbent upon Trump to prove his innocence. Right, because, like, it's the one court in the whole land where if the IRS says, "Hey, you're guilty," it's up to you to actually prove your innocence, and not up to them to prove your guilt.
Yeah.
So that's why
he's guilty AF.
I was gonna say something to get you going, but I decided not to.
I just got yelled at for being loud.
Well, that's why I started yelling after they left the house. So,
well, the wife said that if I woke her up, I definitely woke the kids up. But actually, they're still asleep, man, or they're not making noise. So, when, so yeah, I mean, the thing about Trump, and if you want to go to the reasons for impeachment, and I do agree that they should find a way to where he can't run again. Honestly, like, any way you slice it, I'm sorry. The January 6th events, whatever you want to call it, the events of January 6th. Insurrection still works, I think, but what I'm just saying, the events of January 6th, because whatever. Um, that's his fault. It's his fault, and it's Ted Cruz's fault, and it's Josh Hawley's fault, and it's Marjorie Greene's fault. They stirred the pot. They continued on, like literally. Giuliani would go into court. For this is what I've heard. It's hearsay. I have no idea. But he would go into court and be like, "We're not actually saying there was fraud, but there was this other stuff that maybe needs to be maybe looked at, maybe." And then they talk for like a day, and then the judge would be like, "You're fucking retarded," and then he dismissed the case. And they're doing the same thing. Like Trump's team is doing the same thing now. They're just throwing up a bunch of shit and saying, "Well, look over here. Look over here." Like, like it's just they're throwing up as many things as they can through the wall and seeing if something sticks. So you latched on to the unconstitutional zero standing argument, right? That's the one that you see that makes sense to you. So that works for you. So they're trying to find other arguments that stick with other people. And so they're just doing the same thing. They're just throwing up shooting as many bullets as they can and hoping one hits. Well, just like they did during
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just like they did during when they were trying to overturn the election. They just shot as many bullets as they could and hoping that something would stick to overturn it. Like I saw some clips of the trial or whatever, I guess. Is that a trial? I guess it is a trial.
Did you see...
And like go
ahead. Yeah.
The Republican attorneys are like, they're like, well, look at all the things that the left was saying, and they got like Pelosi saying we should fight and And the thing about it is, like, if I went to court, and I was like on trial for murder. Let's not say murder. Let's say I was on trial for robbing a bank, right? And they brought me in, and I'm sitting there, and my attorney was like, "Well, Rob robbed the bank, and he got away with it. So Reese should get away with robbing a bank." That's the same thing. It's irrelevant to the case. Because you know why? And if you want to open up a separate trial for the things that the people on the left said, cool, or the Democrats said, fine. That's a separate issue. It has shit all to do with Trump and the thing that he's being impeached for. And then the other argument is, can you impeach a sitting president after he's left office? Sure. I don't see why not. Especially one that can run again for office. And yes, if you want to go all the way back and impeach George Washington for owning slaves, fucking fine. I don't care. Sure. If you want to go the slippery slope, we're just gonna impeach Thomas Jefferson now? Fine, sure. Go through it. I don't care.
That argument hurts my head.
I just don't. I don't have an issue with it. Like, I see the point. I do, and I see, and I, as me, I see value in the trial. There's value in it for me.
Did you see the thing? I don't know if it was. I don't know. I just saw it today. Apparently, there was a Kevin McCarthy called Trump or something. Oh
yeah, that one's good. He called Trump and told him to call the people off, and Trump was like,
"Fuck you.
Maybe you should overturn the election."
It seems like they care. I really like. Did you see? I'm gonna change tax here and just kind of point you to something. Did you see the Time magazine article It
I
says
haven't read it. I
the
saw the
secret
highlights or like,
history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election.
yeah, like it's basically saying the exact same thing that all the QAnoners say, but in like a pro
Like
QAnon or
it's like saying the
pro.
quiet part loud, and it's basically it confirms that's like,
Does it
hey,
confirm though? Like I don't.
all the shit that these people said they did, like the secret cabals, they use that word, had a conspiracy, they use that word in the article. Like it's saying the quiet part out loud about like, hey, all those claims that the Republicans were making about like, hey, they changed the rules here to affect this, and they changed the rules here to affect this, and they did this over here to do this. It literally just says, hey, look at all these rules we changed to ensure the appropriate results were achieved in the 2020 election. I just wanted to point that out in response to what the Republicans are saying, how you're saying they're just shooting bullets, because the Time Magazine article says that all of this shit was done on purpose.
I never read the article. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who wrote it?
Person by the name of Molly Ball is the byline. I can pull it up if you want.
I can't read off of your screen. Like it's too small.
Oh, it's gonna be too small.
Like on what you're showing me there.
Yeah, so this whole thing basically just comes out and admits, like if you read it from a factual basis, because there's like, how we talked about like you can't read an article without getting like biased positions in it. Obviously this is still fits into that. But if you read it just strictly from the factual, like here's what happened, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's what this person said about this. Yeah, it basically just admits, like, yeah, we covered up news that would have hurt Biden. We had these people to do this to change the rules in Georgia. We had these people to do this to change the rules in Pennsylvania. Like it just admits everything that the Republicans complained about.
They also changed the rules in North Carolina, but apparently that didn't have any effect.
I mean, it's North Carolina.
I'm just saying. They changed the rules.
North Carolina's what, a plus 11 R? Wasn't Ohio supposed to be plus 11 R? Plus 9? No. Plus 2 or 3 D. Sorry, not plus 9 R.
No, I mean, like, it's the same thing that happened to Bernie, bro. They didn't want Bernie, so they figured out a way to fucking, like, everything happen in a way that...
I think the Democrats learned what happened from the Republicans when Trump won their nomination, right? Because you had all the moderates split out amongst the Rubios and the Cruz and the Bush. Well, nobody really voted for Jeb, but like you had the votes spread out, and then you had Trump over here, and he had a base. And sure, some of these other people had a base, but his was kind of individually larger. So he picked them off one by one going down the line. And the Democrats saw the same thing happening with Bernie going, and they lost Warren, they lost Kamala Harris in the primary, and then Tulsi was still up there at that point, because I don't think she dropped out. She dropped out before Super Tuesday, though.
Yeah.
But then going into Super Tuesday, they got everyone else who was pulling the votes away from Biden to drop out to make Bernie lose.
was just basically it was kind of what they did to Bernie. Like they just all of the forces aligned for this to happen, but I don't think there was actual fraud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Like in, no, I mean it's dirty political games.
Yeah.
But.
And yeah, I'm sure that all the forces aligned between the media and the establishment and the moneyed elites and all of those things. Because Trump wouldn't play their game. I will say that for him. He's for all of his faults, he didn't play their game.
Thank you for watching this episode of BroPartisan Hacks with Reese and Rob. We really, really appreciate you watching, tuning in. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to us. We're putting out content as often as we can. Share it with your friends. Get it out there. Get our names out there. Also, hit that bell, tap that bell right there so that you can get updated when we put out a new video. Rob and I are trying to pump these videos out as often as we can. However, we both have day jobs, we have families, so our schedules have to line up so that we can make a new video. Speaking of our day jobs, our opinions and views expressed are our own and in no way represent those of our respective employers. Thank you. Thanks again for watching.